Hi, I'm David, a content writer here at the Predictive Index. We've said it before, and I'll say it again. Your employees are your most important assets. For any job, you want the person who's the best fit, and taking the time to ensure people are engaged in their jobs is a crucial part of this. In a previous video, we talked about the importance of keeping a pulse on your employees to measure engagement. Today, we want to discuss the importance of one-on-one meetings. To do so, we spoke to two leaders here at PI, Matt Poepsel, our SVP of Product and People Extraordinaire, and Victoria Nickel, our Director of Customer Success, sat down with us to explore the importance of one-on-one meetings and how to make them great. First, they told us how they prepare for their one-on-ones and how they ensure each party walks away from these meetings content and ready to tackle the rest of their work.
There's a couple things that are most effective when preparing for a one-on-one meeting. I think the first is having an opportunity to reflect on what's happened since the last time that the manager and the direct report have spoken. That reflection, looking back, thinking about what has transpired over the course of the work week, for example, is important. And another is to look forward to the future. What are we going to be facing down in terms of working with the business moving forward? But I think also another more tangible prep comes from shared notes. In my case, working with my direct reports, we have an Asana board that we use. It's a collaboration tool where we can each put in our one-on-one notes so that we can prepare throughout the week in advance of the meeting itself.
The amount of prep that you need is really asking yourself, what do I want to accomplish? You only get maybe an hour with your manager every single week, and so I really think of this time as very precious. I also like thinking of it as a time for the employee to come with their own agenda. So I like to recommend that people think of it on multiple levels. The first is, what tactical things do I need to talk through? Things that pop up here and there that I might need to either run by my manager or get their opinion on. What potential strategic things, for example, what are the big things I should be working on? Can you help me prioritize the things I'm doing? And then I also think it's important to save a little bit of time for any feedback, whether it's feedback that you want to provide to the manager, or maybe your manager has feedback for you. So you want to prepare for all of these different types of things so you can get the most out of your time.
Putting in the time and effort to prepare for a one-on-one doesn't fall on the shoulders of just one party. Matt told us how important it is to have that balance between both individuals so that each person holds the other accountable to drive and participate in the meeting. Okay, so after the prep, what is there to expect from the actual meeting?
My best practice is I usually meet with my direct reports for 1 hour every single week. There are certain weeks where we actually need more. And so if that hour is over, but we still haven't finished everything, we'll book another half an hour together. But on the most part, or for the most part, I find that that's a sufficient amount of time.
I like to keep things consistent as far as using tools like the notes, trying to make sure that we understand and have a set format. It doesn't mean we can't deviate from it, but if we know what to expect, that creates a lot of efficiency in our one-on-one meeting format. But at the same time, to make it super productive, I like to vary the location. So for example, when the weather's nice, we might walk and talk, if we can do that during the meeting, or we might go to someplace else in the building just to mix things up a little bit and create a little bit more creativity and camaraderie that way.
Mixing it up is a great way to keep your employees engaged during your one-on-ones. So you're doing all this work to make the meeting interesting and fun, but how can you make sure it's productive? Matt and Victoria let us know what productivity looks like in their one-on-ones.
I think trust is big, especially if you have a new employee, you're starting to have a dialogue, you're wanting to show your coaching approach if you have that type of approach you like to take with your people. And that doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen after the series of 1 or 2 one-on-ones, but over time you can build that type of trust and understanding. I think that managers can be vulnerable and be transparent in one-on-one meetings, and they should be. Sharing career experiences that they've had in a mentorship type fashion shows that, I've been where you are, or here's what helped me, or this is what I'm observing from an independent perspective. Those are things that, we would hope that employees walk away with out of a one-on-one. I'm clear, maybe I'm inspired, maybe I'm more confident in terms of what I need to do to perform at a higher level and to develop as a leader.
So sometimes if I know that we need to talk about something meaty, I'll make sure to message my employee ahead of time and prepare them. So let's say I want to in the meeting brainstorm a new idea or run something new by them. I'll actually preview the idea with them beforehand so as not to either catch them off guard or give them time to think things through, because that always is going to lead to a much more robust type of discussion.
I'm constantly surprised when I talk to my employees about how much they know and see and feel, and areas where there might be gaps, where maybe I thought I've communicated something very clearly, but it just hasn't gotten through because we're very busy. So understanding is one, and I want them to understand me and how I look at their performance, but also them in terms of their professional development. What I think is next for them. Are they clear about the feedback I'm giving them, opportunities I'm seeing for them to tweak or operate a little bit differently? Those types of things are really important. So trust, clarity, understanding, these are important outcomes.
But I do think what it comes down to is setting the agenda up front. And so if both parties have come prepared to discuss everything they need to, I feel like it's pretty easy to stay on track. I think when things tend to go off the rails or become not productive is when either one of the people doesn't come prepared, or they're trying to multitask, or their mind is elsewhere. So what I try to do is turn off Slack, turn off emails. When I'm in a one-on-one with someone, my attention is 100% on them. And I think that's what helps to keep it productive. If I'm finding that someone's having an off day or they're just really preoccupied, sometimes we'll just stop the one-on-one and just try to talk on a human level and see if we can address the big thing that's preventing us from having a productive meeting.
Just holding a one-on-one isn't going to cut it if you aren't achieving something. This is a time for expectation setting and for employees to express concerns or pain points. It's also a time to build your employee-manager relationship and make sure your direct report feels heard and prepared to do their job. In order to make sure you're being as productive as possible, set up goals for your one-on-ones.
I would say a successful meeting would end with a lot of to-dos and a lot of action items. I think throughout the meeting, there's many things that you might check off after you've had a discussion, but most discussions should lead to some sort of action after the meeting. And so as long as those are recorded and the employee is really clear with what needs to be done, when it needs to be done, and how that feedback loop is going to work back to the manager, I think that is success.
So you've just finished a one-on-one. You followed the advice and guidance from this video so far, but how can you tell your meeting was productive after it's over?
I think there's hard evidence in the form of, do we have clear next actions? If you don't, then the question is, you just had a conversation. You didn't necessarily have a one-on-one coordinated meeting. But the other is a little bit softer, and sometimes when you have a great one-on-one and you feel like, that was really good. I sent a Slack to one of my employees the other day saying, that was a really great one-on-one we had, and she was like, yeah, that's true, I felt that too, that was awesome. And that's a good tangible outcome you have. They're not all going to be home runs. Sometimes a little bit of work seeps in when you should be talking about professional development, but that's okay. As long as over time you're having that sort of connection, that sort of understanding, you're walking away with clear actions, that's how you know you're having a good run of one-on-one meetings.
So there you have it. You're now ready to run great one-on-ones. Was this helpful for you? Leave a like down below to let us know. Also, we want to hear from you. Tell us something you do to make your one-on-ones productive in the comments. We have a one-on-one meeting template that managers can use to get the most out of their meetings. It's over there on the right and also linked in the description. If you want more content like this, or you want to learn more about optimizing your talent and people strategy, subscribe to our channel. We release new videos every week. Thank you for watching.